Welcome, everybody. Thank you very much for having me at the Africa FinTech Festival. I will be speaking about building a blockchain technology ecosystem in Africa. My name is Matthias. I am wearing two hats actually today. I'm founder and CEO of CVVC, Crypto Valley Venture Capital. That's a blockchain investor. And I am also a co-founder of the Swiss Blockchain Federation. That's an organization to improve Switzerland as a blockchain hub and keep it attractive in the context of blockchain and crypto. I'll be speaking more about that. Today's keynote is divided up into three parts. First, I'm going to give an overview of the technology, blockchain technology. I'll be then speaking about Crypto Valley, so Switzerland as a blockchain nation and how the ecosystem evolved as it has in the past 3 to 4 years. And towards the end, I'll be speaking about how we actually want to build this blockchain technology ecosystem in Africa. Let me first start with the technology. Before I do that, let me throw you a few numbers at you. I'll start with the number 30, because exactly 30 years ago, at the CERN Institute in Geneva, the World Wide Web, the internet as we know it today, was invented. That brings me to the second number. The number of global companies with a global dimension that emerged out of this opportunity in Switzerland and even in Europe is 0. As we all know, this opportunity went to the US and to China. And today, we are again at the point where the technology has the potential to drive growth for decades. It's called blockchain technology. And in Switzerland, we have 1,000 companies with blockchain technology at their core activities today. And the market cap, the value of all these companies together is over 250 billion. There is 11 unicorns in Switzerland, so companies that are worth over $1 billion in the blockchain and crypto space. So this is a large ecosystem that has evolved over the years, and we are here to explore how can something like that evolve in such a short amount of time. Now, just some very brief basics about blockchain technology. You don't need to understand it in detail, but you need to see blockchain in the context of the internet. And if you remember the first phase of the internet, commonly referred to as Web 1, which was the internet of information, we were all surfing from one website to another, consuming information, basically. So that was the beginning in the early 90s towards 2000, when then the internet got commercialized. So it's really the age of e-commerce. The giants like Google, Facebook, Amazon, they emerged out of this phase 2. Commonly referred to as Web 3. And as one key takeaway for you, blockchain is commonly referred to as Web 3, the internet of value. Think of the possibility to safely transfer a value, could be an asset, could be a digital asset from A to B. That hasn't been possible before. With blockchain, Web 3, this will be possible. Now, how does blockchain work? I like to keep things simple. Basically, blockchain is a combination of two technologies that have been around for decades. It's distributed networks, distributed data storage, and securitization or secure transfers through cryptography. That's the two basic elements of blockchain. And what makes it really special is, as opposed to storing data at a central server, for example, if you have a bank account, that bank stores your data at a central server. In blockchain, data is stored on many computers, many servers or nodes that participate in such a network. And only after there is a consensus amongst all the participating servers, as soon as there is a consensus about the stage of data, for example, the status of a database, it gets saved, stored to all the nodes participating in such a network. So it's truly peer-to-peer. And you can cut out the middleman. In the banking examples, you wouldn't need the bank anymore to send someone money from A to B. And blockchain makes such a network immutable, because as soon as everybody has agreed on the status of a database, it cannot be modified anymore. On the other hand, all the transactions that have been conducted are fully traceable. So you can go back in the blockchain and take a closer look at the transactions that have been conducted. Now, blockchain is a global phenomenon. It's not only startups that experiment with it. You can be sure that all of the largest companies in the world, let's take the Forbes 100 list, all of these companies, they have their own blockchain projects, products, or services up and running. As we're a FinTech festival, JP Morgan is one of the main drivers in the industry from the corporate side. They have their own coin, the JPM coin. They have their own blockchain, and they run many services and products on blockchain as of today. And even Gartner has identified the great potential of this technology in the years to come. Now, let me speak about the Crypto Valley, the hotspot in Switzerland where an important milestone of the blockchain technology was established and developed. It's called Ethereum. Now, if you refer to Bitcoin as the first generation blockchain, Ethereum would qualify for the second generation blockchain. And it was introduced in 2013, and it was founded and developed by many different founders from all over the world, but they got together in Switzerland and they launched it out of Switzerland. They rented an apartment and they started Ethereum from Zug, a small city in Switzerland. Was having a conversation with the industry with regard to this new space. So already in 2014, the federal government was commenting on how to treat virtual currencies, Bitcoin mainly. The Swiss government was the first one to categorize tokens, security tokens, utility tokens, payment tokens. They were the first one to classify. And what happened was you created a sort of legal certainty. So the signal to the industry was, if you are compliant with the underlying legal framework, you can start up your business. And this is what happened in Switzerland. Today, 2021, we have our Blockchain Act fully enabled, fully implemented as of August this year. Now, what do you need in order to create a thriving blockchain ecosystem? There's many factors to it, but you can narrow these factors down to probably 4 of the most important ones. And at the beginning, there is always talent. If you have the founders, if you have the pioneers, the great ideas, the students, the universities that create great projects, normally money follows ideas and quality. And this is what happened in Switzerland as well during that ICO craze in 2017, 2018, when a lot of money was flowing into this ecosystem that we now know as Crypto Valley. If you have the talent and the money, of course, you need the infrastructure. So you need the protocols where all the ideas and applications are based off. You need service providers that can cater to the needs of the startups, of the whole industry. And of course, you need a regulatory environment. You need a legal framework that is supportive, and you need a government that understands what you are talking about. These are crucial factors in order to establish an ecosystem like the Crypto Valley and also like the Silicon Valley. If you look at the sectors that are touched by blockchain, I think it's safe to say today that all of the sectors, all of the industries are affected by blockchain. Now, this is an excerpt from our Top 50 report, where we take a closer look at the Swiss blockchain ecosystem every year. So we identify the 50 most important companies in Switzerland. And as you can see, half of this circle is covered by financial industry, and that would even go as far as 2/3 of all use cases are still in the financial sector. And then, of course, you have the technology sector. So really the protocols, you can think of them as the operating systems of everything, but also hardware and software providers. There's a large number of companies dealing with these kinds. And then, of course, all the other industries from InsurTech through media to travel and leisure. Now, what are the success factors of a startup ecosystem? And we have been very lucky that the government took notice very early on of this phenomenon called Crypto Valley. 2 ministers actually visited Crypto Valley, the city of Zug, in 2017, because they wanted to understand what's happening. What are the factors that are causing this fast growth of an industry? Excuse me. And we were very lucky to win these 2 ministers as patrons for the blockchain task force, which was launched at the end of 2017 because we saw the need for a smart regulation. What we wanted to avoid was dumb regulation. So we wanted to have the conversation with the lawmakers, with the regulator, so that they really understand what the power of this technology is. So what happened after? In 2019, as a direct result of the regulatory framework, the Swiss regulator FINMA gave out 2 licenses to so-called crypto banks, and that was a world novelty. So in 2019, there were 2 fully operational crypto banks, SEBA and Signum, operating out of Switzerland. And then we kept working on the legal infrastructure, on the legal framework, which was anonymously approved by the Swiss Parliament in 2020 and came fully in place, was fully implemented as of August this year. So for example, the term token is now in the civil code of the Swiss legislation, using only 2 lines. It's very elegant, it's technology neutral, it's industry neutral, and it's a principle-based regulation that Switzerland employs. Now, my second hat is the one of the Swiss Blockchain Federation, which emerged out of the task force and operates on 3 pillars. The main pillar still is, of course, the legal framework. Now that the legal framework is implemented, we'll have to see how it's actually operational. And that's what we're closely following in Switzerland right now. We create networking platforms so that all stakeholders from the legacy industry to the startups, to the politics, they can all interact. And that's very important. You have to educate people from all the various areas so that they understand what is happening with blockchain and crypto. And since this year, we also have an innovation pillar. So the Swiss government, with the Agency for Innovation, is supporting many activities such as blockchain hackathons, incubators, ideation platforms, and even corporate acceleration. So the Swiss government is actively supporting blockchain innovation. Now, since we are in Africa, and for us, Africa is one of the focus areas, let me quickly talk about who we are. So CVVC stands for Crypto Valley Venture Capital. We invest in blockchain startups, so companies that have products based on blockchain. So what is the goal? The goal is to invest in 100 startups that have the chance to tackle the challenges of the continent. And I don't have to really give you all the context because you are aware of the context that the continents have. What is really interesting to see is the rise of venture capital over the past years in Africa. For example, all the 7 African tech unicorns, they got their billion-dollar status in the last 2 years. So it's very impressive numbers. And what's probably most important for me, the true use cases of blockchain are not to be found in countries like Switzerland, where everybody has access to the financial system. And you can get cash out of an ATM whenever you want. When you buy land, you can be sure that there's a register and you can actually own the land. The true use cases of blockchain are to be found on the African continent. And that's where we see the strong potential, the combination of blockchain technology and the economic the economic potential of Africa. So we are planning to invest in 100 startups over the coming 4 years through a blockchain accelerator. We already have 5 startups in our portfolio, so we have been active in the continent before. Currently, there are 5 additional startups in our pipeline to join our accelerator. What we see currently, the deal flow we see from sub-Saharan African companies is really fantastic, and we are very thrilled with the quality and the rate of innovation that we see in our process currently. What's the CV Labs accelerator? We already run an incubation program out of Switzerland. It's based on that. It's 4 phases, as you can see. What basically happens for you as a participating startup is we will make you investor room ready. So the goal is that if you terminate the acceleration program, you are ready to call the valuation that you get based on our investment, and you are ready for the next financing round. The stage that we are investing is pre-seed, so it's very early. It's pre-traction, pre-revenue. Normally, we're the first institutional money in. It's up to $100,000 USD, both cash and in kind. And what we will get in return is tokens or equity. Our goal is to have some 25 startups per batch starting from next year. We will run different verticals, as you can see here. These are where we see the biggest opportunity on the African continent. We will work with corporates as well here. So it's important for us to have the link to the corporate world as well. There is also a government vertical, as you can see, where we will work together with the Swiss government into developing solutions for governments. That could be voting, and that could be many, many more things. So what's the benefit for you as a startup? Mainly, you can benefit from the experience and the expertise of over 70 mentors that are in our network. So you'll be mentored. There will be very specific know-how. I would say roughly 50% of the program is general. The rest is really targeted towards the needs of blockchain startups. Now, let me end with this. What are the success factors of a blockchain ecosystem? We strongly believe that something like Crypto Valley can be built elsewhere. And these are the 4 factors that are needed. You need the talent, you need the pioneers, you need the universities, you need the founders. Money will follow. If you then have the support from the government and the regulatory framework in place, you need supporting infrastructures, service providers. You need to have conferences, platforms in order to facilitate growth of such an ecosystem. And I think this is possible in Africa as well. Thank you very much for your attention, and I wish you good luck and lots of fun with the rest of the Africa FinTech Festival. Thank you.